All right, so how's it going, everybody? This is Zac Clark with Hipsters of the Coast. We've got Jeff Steefel.
It's fine.
Of WotC, the Vice President of
Digital Game
Development. Great, so we're here to talk about Arena today, and so tell us what's new with Arena right now.
Wow, how new?
Yeah, well, let's go with the last month.
I think one of the coolest things for us was actually doing something as mundane as a stress test that we had like about 3-4 weeks ago, where we invited tons and tons of people into the game and broke the servers just the way we wanted to, but actually got way more people than we had intended, and gave ourselves another indication that we're on the right path to make sure that when we go open beta with this game and tons of people come in, that the game's going to be fine. It's going to be there for them. And then the other thing was cool was a lot of those people are still playing. Right?
Yeah.
In other words, we've got this giant surge of people coming into the game for the stress test,
and they kept on playing. That's great.
And they keep on playing, which is really, really cool. Yeah.
So I guess I have a few questions that a lot of our viewers were wondering about.
Sure.
One of them is, so do you know yet if there's going to be sort of a path to the Pro Tour sort of thing for Arena? Will there be like something like that, like a championship series or anything like that for Arena? Have we worked on something like that yet?
Look, we know Arena's intentionally a competitive game.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very watchable game, at least we hope so. And it's in the pedigree of Magic that it's competitive, and there's tournaments and all that. So there's something in the future for Arena.
Great.
There's lots of things we're talking about. It's important for us to stay focused on the game experience right now.
Yeah.
And also, our game is part of a very large ecosystem for Magic overall. So we have to have broader conversations than we are about how does it all fit together, right? You know, what is the relation? And I know these are the questions I would have. What is the relationship between Pro Tour, Mox, all the things that are happening in the other pieces of Magic? And we're talking about all those things. We have thoughts, ideas, plans, and when they're more solid, we'll be talking to the communities, all the communities about it.
Cool. So I'm going to throw some numbers out at you here, because this is one that came up pretty recently. So the top 8 from the Pro Tour, right? Mm-hmm. You're looking at on an average of 9 mythics in a deck and 15 rares in a deck. Close average. And so if you're a grinder for Arena, it takes about a month to pull a deck together. Are we looking at doing something a little faster than that in the upcoming future?
Yeah, we don't have a single target number right now, and some of my answers are going to all sound the same in that we're experimenting right now.
Yeah, of course.
And even though people are giving us their time, their energy, their money to participate in beta, which we appreciate, we're still figuring out what the right path is.
Yeah.
So the most important thing was making sure that all these things are easy for us to tune and adjust and see how they're all balanced with each other and look at all the information. So you've seen some of the things that we've been doing recently, even in July, the changes to some of the indicators on wildcards and how you get wildcards. Just to at least make it clearer that it's a more deterministic thing. It's less of a I'm going to see what happens in 10 years when the chest opens.
Of course,
to give you a more sense of how fast things are going. We are going to be continually adding new ways for you to get cards, even in the new to get the things that you need to get the cards that you want. So even in new player experience, you finish that and get 15 packs in which you're going to be getting some more wild cards and have more ability to actually build that tier 1 deck.
Great.
What is the magic number for how long we want a grinder to spend? We don't know.
Don't know yet. Yeah.
And just think about it. It really depends on the overall economy, the overall sort of loops in the game, and so everything that we changes something else. We're really becoming aware of the fact that we have different audiences in Magic, which we always have. But Arena has made it even clearer that, partially because it's designed to bring even more people into the community over time, we have the really, really core players playing Magic who have, especially competitive players who have very clear wants and needs and desires. And then we have a broader audience that we're trying to reach out to, and they live inside the same game and experience the same way that the game is set up. So we're trying to figure out how do you actually satisfy the needs of those different groups of people in the same game.
I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah, no. we think there's a way, right? The most fundamental is just the game rules engine that we built that allows us to even, and it's very crude right now.
Yeah.
To have the ability to say, look, I can either play Arena and let the game decide for me some basic things. If there's a legal move, it'll do it for me. If there's a priority pass, it'll do it for me. If there's mana to pay, it'll do it for me. Which for a more casual player is great. For someone who's got very specific strategy in mind, it can sometimes be rough, right? So we have the brute force hammer of like full control mode, and so now I have the ability to intercept all that stuff as it's happening, but it's so brute force that now I'm forced to play a game which is maybe not as facile as I would like.
Yes, of course.
So the question over time is going to be, how do we titrate that, right?
Got it.
So it's the same thing with the economy. It's the same thing with sort of like the free-to-play core loops. Like, how do we strike that balance?
All knobs to turn.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess the next one is sort of about that balance between your casual players and your more competitive players. So we've got rotation coming up in October.
Yep.
And that's a lot of people are wondering what you guys have in store for that. Since there's no crafting system or anything like that, we're going to have a lot of cards that we have that we've wild carded into cards and whatnot that are now not standard playable.
Yep.
We have a plan for that.
So we're still working out the best solution.
Yep.
We have a number of possible best solutions, and rotation's coming.
Yeah.
So one thing we know for sure, and we have a couple different scenarios, not ready to talk about them yet, but soon, because it's not so far off, we want to make the experience as not feel punitive to players for that very reason, right?
Yes.
So we will do things to make people feel like they're not losing that value that they've put into collecting those cards, especially given the fact that you can't just dust them and turn them into something you can use. But the longer term, more important thing is it's too early to do it, at Ravnica, but by the time we get to next rotation, we need a much bigger answer to the much bigger question, which is, what is the experience with all the cards that you've been collecting that isn't in standard?
Yeah.
There will be one.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
we've
hoping
been spending a lot of
one.
time with R&D talking about what is that and how does it relate to the formats that exist for that in paper.
Yeah,
and,
the overall.
what's the right, whatever you want to call it, other format.
Yeah, of course.
And so, but between now and then, we have this one turnover, which is just so close to the start of everything.
Yeah, of course.
That what we will make sure is that you guys don't feel like we've said thank you so much for collecting all that stuff. It's probably not going to be worth anything. We'll tell you in a year when we do the next rotation what you can do with that.
I feel for a lot of people that's the crucible. Like that's where it's at.
Yeah, and believe me, there's a lot of people intent on not only solidifying what the plan is, but getting in front of you guys before it happens.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So coverage. It looks beautiful, and it would make coverage look really great. Do we have plans? We obviously couldn't do it for the last Pro Tour because there's other formats involved. But we're getting closer to a standard and draft Pro Tour coming up. Could we possibly see that on the next Pro Tour? Maybe 2 Pro Tours from now.
What specifically would you want to see?
So I'd like to see this as the way the Pro Tour is shown on coverage.
Interesting. So obviously, making sure that this was 100% pure standard was so that we could do things like that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's a lot of people that like watching Pro Tour coverage the way that it is right now, right?
Yeah.
So again, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over again. We have to balance the difference between these things.
Of course, yeah.
But this creates a lot of opportunity, right? I think we need a little bit of time to see people playing in full standard, which started last set.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And is now lockstep from now until forever, right? You're going to replay that for me in 5, 6, 10 years and say, you said forever. And see exactly, what's the best way to cover it, right?
Yeah.
Even just starting to work with influencers, starting to see how people are streaming the game, we're going to learn a lot about, how it shows. There's no question, even today, as it shows, it's a great way to cover it. But
yeah, I think. Obviously, it's going to be a learning experience, but being able to tell the story of a particular player by actually seeing his face instead of his bald spot is a thing, As a guy who has a bald spot,
No, I'm working on it. Although I'm starting in the front.
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah.
That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I know my future now, right? I love hearing that because I feel like the way we cover those events has a long way to go in terms of the way things are.
Yeah.
But in the past, quite frankly, part of the reason why we haven't changed it is because people have become very accustomed to what they want to see.
You know what you're looking for.
Yeah, so the real question is how do you give that more dynamic kind of experience for people that are watching it, right? That are seeing a lot more going on. They're seeing a little bit more, like to your point, seeing people's faces and stuff like that. And the people may or may not want you to see their faces. But
True. Yeah.
But at the same time, Magic is so deep. People are so knowledgeable about what they're watching that they also want to really see everything that's going on. And how do you do those two things simultaneously? And that's what we're trying to figure out, right? Do we someday have the John Madden,
do we go full digital?
School diddle over, right? And he's like somebody with a pencil drawing. So here's what's happening here. Took this card and he's going over it.
He just couldn't get his hands on it. Yeah.
Yeah. It is now a tool for us.
That's great.
To make everything better. When and how, that's a conversation. It's interesting. Wizards is cool because, more than any other game that I worked on that's competitive, we're not just talking about Arena. Everything is about Magic. Right?
Yeah.
So we're working with the Pro Tour teams, and we're working with R&D, and we're working with the event people, and we're working with, marketing, and saying like, let's think holistically across all the people that play Magic. What is the best combination of things? Because every time you do one thing, you're doing something else different.
Yeah, tweaks a knob in another spot. And
I've heard that players don't like things to change too much.
Yeah.
I've heard this.
We can be static in some ways, yes.
And I am a player. I am the same way, right?
Yeah.
Don't move my rock.
Yeah.
No, it's because it works, right?
Yeah. Yep. And so the last question, this is a curveball.
I love it.
So the Mac client. Right?
Yep.
You have any comments on the Mac client?
Look, we want to be wherever somebody wants to play this game, right? A lot of times companies, and I've worked on a lot of games, specifically on PC, kind of rule out the Mac because it's such a small part of the audience and part of the market. I think for this game and this audience, there's more overlap, so it's something we absolutely want to do. I can't give you a hard date.
That's fair.
But there's a lot of people outside and inside the building, including some of my developers, that are very eager to make it happen as quickly as possible.
That's good to
I know my boss not only wants it to happen as soon as possible, but has been telling people it's going to happen as soon as possible. That's his job, man. And we want it to also. It's just a matter of priorities.
That's great to hear. Yeah.
And
awesome.
There's nothing that we're doing that prohibits us from doing that, right? But we have to make sure we do it well. So, for example, the way that things get rendered on the screen is different on a Mac than it is on a PC.
Of course, yeah.
So we could probably make it work tomorrow, but it wouldn't necessarily look great. And it's Magic. We want it to look great
right
and
now.
always look great,
of course.
Right? And so we don't want to put out something that looks worse.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's all the questions I have.
All right, cool.
Jeff, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for playing and for being Magic players, period.
Cool. Zac Clark, Hipsters of the Coast, signing off.